Sona, you said that you heard from your father.
Yes.
Gil.
Was
this yesterday or the other day?
This was last night, yeah.
Last night he called you and he was unhappy. What happened?
He texted me. He was angry. He saw a clip online and he got angry about something I said. And, my parents are, they're traditional people.
Yeah.
And I got a mouth. And why are you laughing so hard?
No, but you know what, Sona, you're a modern woman of the world.
Thank you.
You've been here, you've been there, you've been to Porter Square, you've seen it all. Some say you've done it all. And your father was born in a very small village.
Yes, he was.
Where was this?
This was in Turkey, what used to be Armenia. Thank you very much. But yeah, he was born in Turkey and he was in a small village, immigrated here. They're traditional people, my parents. And I say a lot of things on this podcast that are not traditional things. And so yesterday he texted me and he's like, I can't believe you talk like that on the podcast. And he said, you're a mother, you have kids. Like he went on and I was like, oh my God, my dad's actually upset.
Yeah.
But I couldn't think of which clip he would have been upset about.
Right.
I say jizz so many times on this podcast.
You say
I talk
everything.
about dicks.
Yeah.
I talk about vaginas. I talk about like heated rivalry all the time. I was like telling Tack, I was like, is there one thing that was egregious?
It's like saying to Santa Claus, thanks for the gift. And Santa's like, what? Do you know what I mean? And then he's got to think about the 55 billion gifts he's given out. Right? But you're the Santa Claus of filth. You're just constantly, it's butts, it's buns, you love it. And so what did you say? Did you defend yourself to your dad?
No, I was just like, I really needed to figure out which thing upset him. So I said, which clip? And then he said, I appeared on my friend Rick's podcast.
I know Rick, yeah.
Rick Glassman. And I was on his podcast and we released a clip, not even from this one. So I'm like, clearly he never watches this podcast because otherwise he'd be really pissed.
Yeah.
It was that podcast. And I watched.
What were you talking about?
I said the word fuck like twice.
Okay,
and my dad was
wait a minute.
About it.
So he can't ever listen to this podcast.
Never.
Because I saw some of you with Rick, and it was very tame compared to what you do every day here.
Yes.
Now, let me paint a picture for the people listening. Your father is very distinguished, very handsome.
Yes.
An older gentleman.
Yes.
He's got a big white mustache.
Okay.
No, does he not?
I knew you were going to the mustache.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yes, he's always had a mustache.
Does he not look like, he looks a lot like the guy who carves Pinocchio, Geppetto. He does. Does he not? Does he bear a resemblance to Geppetto? Just say.
Yeah, a little. He's a little Geppetto-esque.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed that your brother has hinges where his joints should be? Have you ever noticed that? And remember when you were growing up, your brother would say, I wish I could be a real boy? Do you remember? Do you remember?
Oh, you're actually asking me.
I'm saying your father carved your brother.
Okay.
That he is, in fact, Geppetto. And I do hope that someday Danny becomes a real boy.
You know what?
That is, yes.
I'm fine with you saying these things because my dad does not watch this podcast, obviously. Because how can he not be mad about the thousands of things I've said on this podcast?
You are just, I'm thinking of like a sprinkler shooting water. You're a sprinkler that just shoots filth, but you get filth on every single part of the lawn. The lawn is saturated with filth.
Why are you acting like you're an innocent guy? Which one of us has a voice for their penis? Not me. What's your penis's voice like?
Hey, leave me out of this. Hey, everybody back off. Cut it out. I was just in here in these briefs minding my own business.
My penis is always reading a tiny copy of The New Yorker.
Oh, this is great. There's some good cartoons in this one.
You created this environment.
He's got little glasses.
Okay.
Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that your parents need to accept who you are.
I know.
I think that's important.
Yes.
They need to see the real you. And I know you get into it with your mom a lot. You guys have your differences because I think that you were quite... I think you were a lot to handle when you were growing up. Were you not?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
was.
And how are you and Nadia doing these days?
We're cool. I
Okay.
love her and I love my dad.
Of course you do.
And there are times when I say things where I think, oh man, their friends will listen to this one day. But then I kind of forget what I say. And also, I mean, my dad, he was just tone it down a little. And I was like, I don't know how to do that.
No,
Pop.
you can't.
I don't know how to do that.
You can't do that.
If you say something if we have a conversation about dicks and stuff, how are we not supposed to talk about
I will point out
jizz?
that you're usually the one that brings it up. The topic is not dicks, and then you chime in a little bit and say, I've seen a dick or two. That's not what happens. I'm usually talking about Woodrow Wilson. And then you say, did he have a cock? And I'm like, well, I guess he did.
Oh, my God.
But you know what I mean? That's usually how it goes. So this is
true.
on you, and you'll have to pay for this.
I like poo-poo pee-pee humor.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do. That's
I have to say, I can relate somewhat because my parents, very, very staunch, good, old-school Catholics.
Yes.
And they watched every episode of my show starting in 1993. And what a cavalcade of horrific sights, sounds, and smells.
Yeah.
And they would always just, my mother would say, we'd do a show with the masturbating bear and then, a talking whatever.
Money Shot Lincoln.
And all this stuff. And my mother would say, well, I just thought you looked lovely last night. That tie you were wearing. And she would always go to the thing that so she never, not once said, oh, you got to stop that. Not once.
Oh,
she knew I was bringing in the Benjamins. And that meant they'd get a ham for Christmas. Anyway, hey, Gil, we love you.
I love you,
and
Pop. Yeah.
your daughter's doing a great job. And I agree with you. She's horrible. Okay.
It was almost
He
nice.
didn't say I was horrible.
This is the end.
My dad didn't say I was horrible.
No, but I also give him a lot of credit. He carved your brother. He carved him.
You start off being nice to my dad, and then you started talking about how he's
How many
Geppetto.
times in my life have we been in a restaurant or anywhere, and I have secretly taken my napkin, scrunched it up, and turned it into a giant mustache, put it under my nose, and said, hey, Sona, Gil wants to talk to you.
Yes, yeah.
And I have a maybe 2.5 foot long white mustache under my nose.
I don't think we've ever had a meal without me doing
that.
Yeah. It's like you wearing glasses, not being able to do a bit.
If I didn't have a napkin for any reason, they hadn't put out the napkin yet, or there was a mistake, I would tear the tablecloth off the table, smashing all the plates, put it under my nose, and say, your father's here to speak to you.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of our
He'll
friendship.
never be able to watch this.
Or it's a podcast. You really should be listening.
Oh.
Here we go.